Hi, my name is Ganbi, and love me some conspiracy. Long story short, Nezu is sus. Here's why. There are Among Us spoilers, by the way. So, the traitor theory consists of someone from UA that is leaking information to All For One and the League of Villains, putting the students in danger. A lot of people seem to forget that All For One is one of the first people to ever gain a quirk in Japan, and trust me, this is important for the theory. AFO ruled over Japan from the shadows pretty much until Big Daddy All Might came back from America and defeated him back when Deku's mom was still eating healthy. All For One killed everyone who had a strong quirk and stole the ones he seemed useful for him. As a very powerful person operating among the shadows, he has a lot of subordinates like Gigantomachia and his doctor back from episode 1, who gave him an anti-aging quirk that allows him to live longer in trade of his mobility. But he also has people that work for him regardless if they want to actually do it or not, like the recent case of Lady Nagant in the manga. That being said, if there's a possibility of being a traitor among UA, Nezu, there's also the possibility of being more than one traitor in UA. And since I love chaos, I would love it if there was more than one traitor, like Aoyama,
Traitor.
Agakure,
Traitor.
Woody the Woodpecker from episode 1.
Traitor.
Because neither a student or a teacher need a profound reason to help All For One. They might simply do it because that's what their families have been doing for generations, for example. But there's a lot of information that leads to Nezu. Like, what is Nezu? All we know is that Nezu is the rare case of an animal getting a quirk. But isn't that fishy? When we were first introduced to him, it wasn't. All we knew at the time was that Recovery Girl is the best waifu for my hero. Now we know better than that. Nomus. Creatures made in laboratory by, once again, this doctor/scientist, I guess. Nomus are his creation for helping All For One in his cause. And you know what scientists use for experiments? Rats. Why? Well, listen to what Google has to say. Because Google knows it all. Mice and rats have long served as the preferred species for biomedical research animal models due to their anatomical, physiological, and genetic similarity to humans. Rats are somehow similar to humans. Nomus are made from humans. The doctor takes a quirk and makes it the core of the Nomu, then modifies the body with other quirks. And since quirks have DNA from the wielder, the mix of different quirks is basically the mix of various DNAs. Nomus are technically human chimeras with no will of their own, acting according to their programming. And this is where Nezu comes in. This doctor had to start somewhere with his research, so he used rats like any scientist in his position would. Using Nezu was the core and then adding quirks to the mix. And that's how Nezu is significantly larger than normal rats and more intelligent than most humans according to the anime and the manga. And I guess they can also explain the scar on Nezu's face. He wasn't just mistreated by humans, he was experimented on, abused. And since the more perfected Nomus, called High-Hand Nomus, contain the personality of the host, it makes sense why Nezu went overboard against Mina in Kirishima. Because he wanted to toy with them just like he was toyed with. His anger towards humans was being exposed. But holding a grudge over what happened to him doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't work with All For One. After all, there's a lot of people in real life that work in a job they absolutely hate simply because they have to. And as I stated before, you don't need to be an eager follower in order to obey All For One's orders. And since I mentioned his intelligence before, for someone who is more intelligent than a human, he really doesn't score, does he?
Well, you see, this school has an impenetrable security.
And then there's someone able to enter.
USJ secure.
And then Shigaraki and the boys attack the entire place.
No one will be able to guess that Class 1A and Class 1B are in that forest training.
And then Dabi and the gang are there. It's like everything Nezu says is guaranteed not to be true. So even if he's innocent, he really is a bad principal, and being cute cannot save him from my harsh criticism. But if he's in fact a traitor, then we're in for a treat in these next few chapters of the manga, because Nezu revealed a really convenient shelter in such a precarious and miserable situation. When it comes to the Yue traitor theory, you can either be one of those who really wanted to be a traitor, you couldn't care less, or you could do it just like me and sit in the spectator seat. I just wanted to have some fun with this topic, so yeah, that's it.